Good evening, everybody. My name is Barry Walker, and I am the National Property Development Manager at Keith A Homes. I'm joined today with our Auckland team and as well as the Hay family. Now, I love property. I'm passionate about property development. For me, there's just so many different options in a development. What I love about it is there's so many challenges, so many moving parts. It's continuously changing, and the environment is changing as well. So there's not just one way to do a development, there's many different ways depending on what situation that you are particularly in yourselves. My passion is shared as well by my team in Auckland and the Hay family, and we've got an abundance of wealth of knowledge within our team through our drafting team, QS, through the project management team. So we love development, we specialise in infill, and this is our game. So what do we know about the last 12 months? Very interesting last 12 months we've had. I'm not even going to start on COVID, but in the property investment and development field, we have had some challenges. You know, yes, the new Healthy Homes has come through. Now, I'm a proud property investor, and I'm proud to say that all my houses are up to spec, and I actually value having good homes for my tenants. We've had new legislation, and that's going to continue to come into play. We're going to always have more challenges being a property investor. But as what was said before, there is definitely an upside, and the upside's huge. You know, the Auckland medium price has gone up 17%, and if you look at a lot of the development properties, or if you've got more land on your property, it's gone up even more. So there's huge opportunity. Average rents continually increase, as well as, you know, we are in a massive housing shortage. While I'm not celebrating the massive housing shortage, it does create a big opportunity for us as investors and developers to supply good quality homes to people. Now, the Auckland Unitary Plan. Now, if you're looking at developing in Auckland, we've got the Auckland Unitary Plan, which is a pretty robust, quite amazing plan, and we're only really discovering what we can really do with that plan as the years go on. Now, you can build a small 30 square metre house on the back of your site and gain a rental income, or you can go through to 1 lot, 2 lot, 5 lot subdivisions, multi-townhouses, apartments. There is so much opportunity. So the first thing that you've got to really think about, and while you're sitting there listening to me, what I want you to think about, forget about what I'm talking about for a second. What I want you to think about is, what is your goal? Why are you here? Why are you in property? What are you trying to achieve? And you might have quite a big, large-scale goal that you want to build multi-units, but you haven't bought your first property yet. That's okay. You have to start somewhere. So, what is your appetite for risk? And again, doing your first development, you might have a small appetite for risk, but as you get more experience and you get good partners around you, that appetite for risk will grow. And what is your financial situation? As I said, you know, if you're looking at buying your first property, that doesn't mean that you can't become a property investor, and it doesn't mean you can't become a developer. It might mean that you have to start off slow by putting a unit on the site, all right, and then work your way up through as you gain more equity. So, what I'm going to talk to you tonight about is a few different options, not all the different options, a few different options on how you can maximize your property's potential. So what we're going to look at first is we're going to look at this development site, okay? Now, this site, it's not a rectangle, it's pretty, I would call it a skewed rectangle. You can see the contour lines going across it. This is about a 1 metre slope on the site. Now, this property was bought last year in August 2020 for around $850,000. All right, it's a site out of Mangere East, and it's just on 800 square metres. Now, looking at the site, the stormwater is across the road. from the property. Now, stormwater is a huge risk in Auckland. If you don't have stormwater to the site, you are going to need to bring it to the site. So this creates a bit of cost because we're going to now have to bring that stormwater across the road to the property. We do have wastewater, which is that red line going across the site. Now, it is further into the site, so we've got to think about costs such as bridging and other aspects that we've got to look into. Now, there's these blue lines coming down the page, which is an overland flow path. Now, they're not on the property, but as you can see on the next page, all that blue means we have a lot of flooding on that property. So, this isn't a bad site, this is a great site, because there's opportunities to develop on it. Every site that you look at will have challenges, and if it doesn't have challenges, the biggest challenge you'll face is it will be expensive. All right? So it is our job as investors and developers to be able to look through these challenges and see how we can create the equity out of these properties. So let's have a look at the first site. All right, so just a bit of disclaimer, or more of an explanation of how I've come up with my figures, so it's quite clear. All right, so first thing, the costs are shown as estimated base. We have looked at the property, we've done a full investigation, we've worked out how much the public works is going to cost, and what we've included in the pricing is things like development contributions, water care fees, surveyors fees, so the whole lot. Now, be very cautious about taking these figures and then putting them on your site. Every site is different and needs to be treated differently. All right? There are no interest costs on this development. So what you need to have a look at, and Darren's going to be talking to you a bit about the QSing and how you structure your finance, but everybody's finance requirements are different. So you may go to the bank, you may go to second-tier lending, you may need mezzanine funding. So it's all very different. So I haven't allowed for any interest costs. The mortgage is interest only, so when I've worked out the rental income or the profit, it's a gross profit I'm using. I'm not including mortgage repayments. I'm only including the mortgage interest only payments, as I'm not including insurance and rates. Okay? All right, so let's go into the first project. So if we look at the site, so the main house is in the middle of the site. Now it's a timber construction. So it's timber pile construction, and then on the back end of the site is just a garage. So I'm going to, for this study, I'm going to say we can put a minor dwelling on the back of that site. So nice, easy development. If you own the site, you don't have to do your LVR restrictions if you're only going to put a minor dwelling or a second dwelling on the site, because you're not subdividing it. So if this was your own property and you had 20% equity, you can put another minor dwelling or a second dwelling without subdividing, and you won't have to go to that 40%. All right? If it is a rental property, then yes, you're going to have to abide by your 40% rule. Okay, so if we look at the costs there, so the total cost for the minor dwelling is $340,000. That's for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Now that sounds incredibly expensive because you're going, the minor dwelling itself is only $160,000. Now, normally in Auckland, we price a minor dwelling anywhere between $240,000 and $280,000. But going back to the site, we looked at the public stormwater is across the street, so we're going to have to bring that across. So that creates a lot of cost into the project. However, when we look at the rents, now I've put the rents in at $480 per week. It's pretty conservative. If you go to some of the community housing providers or Housing New Zealand, they'll pay you $550 a week. So I've used quite conservative figures. But mortgage rate 2.39%, so the mortgage is $8,000. So a gross profit of $16,000, even on that minor dwelling at $340,000. So it's still very profitable. All right. So now, if we put a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on the site, so years ago, you could only put a minor dwelling on a site bigger than 600 square metres. Now, if you can put any size house on the back of the site and not subdivide. So I'm putting a 90 square metre, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home on there, and again, total cost is $380,000. So there's not a lot of difference because you're still bringing the same services down the site. If we look at what the rent is, we're at $580, again, very conservative. If you go to Housing New Zealand or community housing, that would be at $650. Now, mortgage rate $9,000, so gross profit $21,000. So for a buy and hold situation, very profitable. Now, the other thing is you've got to consider is we may have to build that house on site or we can crane it over, but we'll still build it as a transportable house. And because the existing building is a transportable house as well, it's a timber pile construction, you can hold on to that land. So if you held on to that land for 10, 20 years, you could ship those houses off at a later date and still be able to reuse the land to do developments. Now, how does that work financially? Well, everyone said to me, if you go to a second-hand housing dealer, the houses are cheap. They're about 100 grand, 120 grand for a 30-year-old building. Now, it wasn't built for 100 grand. It was probably built for about $20,000 or $30,000. So buildings appreciate as construction costs keep increasing. So if you did a development like that and you had a low risk appetite and you said, I just want to hold on to the land, 10 years, 15 years, you could move those houses down to Huntley or the beach and you'll be able to maximise that property. Okay, so let's look at another option. So because this is mixed housing urban, we can put up to 4 houses on the site. All right, you could reuse the existing house, but we've chosen to just put 4 brand new houses on the site. And in this exercise, I've priced it in to subdivide. Okay, so we're going to end up in 4 separate lots. So driveway down the middle, car park. I mean, there are so many developments now that are going up, and I know councils are looking at changing the rules about car parks, about not having car parks on site. I honestly, as a developer, I'm doing a townhouse development down in Howick, and although I only have to put 1 car park in, I'm putting 2. So that's your decision on how many car parks you want to put in, but here we've allowed for 1 each per site, with the potential of a second on the front site. So you do need to think about the road later on. So a development like this, build and subdivide. If you were just subdividing and putting 1 house at the back, you're probably looking around $450,000. But because we've done 4, they've come at $360,000 per unit. Now, what I've looked at is I've taken the land value at $850, all right, and I've divided that by 4, which has got me my figure of $575,000 per house and land. Now, obviously, you would have said to me, Barry, but I would have paid a 30% deposit, so there's some equity in the property. Just for this, I'm just showcasing what the end value or end equity gain would be if you just bought it at market value. All right, so the current new value of the site's at $690, so you're going to gain $460,000 on this development immediately. All right, and then if we decided, okay, we're going to see if we can hold this property. Now, with the LVR rules, you're going to have to think about equity, but if you're going to hold this property, you can see we're looking at $22,000 profit per dwelling. So all of a sudden, you've made 450 grand and you have $90,000 gross profit. Not bad for just a basic property out in Mangere Bridge. So what about terrace houses? If we want to increase our yield even more, see how many dwellings we can put on the property. Maybe we're going to think about building some and selling some. So in this case, let's think about, should we build 6 and sell 3 and then keep 3? There's so many different options. So what we've done here is, this is a new product that we've brought out, and Mark Warrington will be talking about the spatial awareness in a property this size. But this is a 78 square metre, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit with a separate car park. All right, so the footprint on this unit is around 38 square metres. All right, so we're building 38 to 40 square metres. So even if you had a site that was 400 square metres with a small house, you could add one of these units on very easily and still have space around it for gardens. Okay, so what we've done here, we put 6 units on the site, land value at 850. So the house and lands end up at 501,000 each. All right, and a total value for that at 595. You're gaining about 94,000 per site. Now, I've spoken to an agent and they feel that my pricing is very conservative, and as the market grows, that's obviously the values are going to increase as well. So our capital gain on that site is 564,000. If you own this property at 30% equity, if you sold 3, you could keep 3, and that would be under the LVR of 40%. All right. Again, if we're looking at renting, the gross profit is 84,000 per annum. So what I was trying to showcase there is that there are so many different options. Now, we could put 2 or 3 double stories on that site that are slightly bigger, 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 3 bathrooms, or 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. We've got double stories that are 130 square metres, that we can add 20 square metres and make it a 4-bedroom, 3 bathroom, and then a 5-bedroom, 3 bathroom. So there's so many different options that we can go down. All we really need to understand is, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve out of property investment? You come to us with that, then we can discuss a strategy and help you achieve this. All right, this is another site. I'm going the wrong way here. Now, this is for an APIA member. So again, we're going to do a low-risk development here. The middle house is an existing brick house, and we've put 2 transportables either side. The public works for the stormwater was over 150,000, and he said to me, Barry, it's just not working. There was a few other things that we had to deal with, and he just felt it was just wasn't working with just the 3 units. He is a property manager himself, and his plan is that he's going to wants to build and hold all the houses. So what we've done is we're just going through resource consent now. He said, Barry, can we put 4 houses on there? And with Mark Warrington's help, we've managed to put 5 townhouses on the site, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom houses. The back units over there, we've just spoken to the resource consent, and we will have to change that and make it into a 3-bedroom, but we've definitely got some really good yield out of this development. Okay, so that's the townhouse development that we're currently working on. So still got a bit of work to do. All right, and just quickly, some other products that we're doing at the moment. This is a development that Keith A. Holmes is doing. This is a site out in Rānui. We're doing a 35-lot subdivision. Now, we could have chosen to do all townhouses or all terrace houses and got a bigger yield out of it in terms of the number of dwellings. But by looking at a few different segments or topologies of houses, we've been able to maximise the equity gain in the development. So one of the things, that's the development, I don't know if you can see that properly, but one of the things that a lot of the agents have been saying is we don't have any single-storey buildings because everything is a townhouse, everything's a 3-storey terrace house, so there's not a lot of good single-storey dwellings. So what we've seen is an increase in the value for the single-storey dwellings, and we've also seen a higher rent for some of the single-storey dwellings. So we have provided 17 single stories, as well as some terrace houses, a duplex, and some double-storey dwellings as well. So there's a lot of different multiple options on this subdivision. If you are building outside of Auckland or in the outskirts, we've got this great product here. It's a transportable house, again for land banking options, with a single garage or transportable. So if you're looking at developing out in Wellsford or Pocono or Waiuku or areas like that, where there's definitely opportunities for you. All right. The one thing I'd just like to leave you with is development is not a cookie-cutter approach. Just because the Unitary Plan says you can put 10 townhouses on a property doesn't mean you should. What you do need to do is fall in love with the numbers. Make sure you clearly understand the value of the construction and the profitability that's going to come out the other side. And that is what you need to use to make your decisions when it comes to developments. All right. Thank you very much for your time tonight. And Mark Warrington from Mark Warrington Architects will be coming to the stage now. Thank you.